Berlin, 1933. In just 60 days, Hitler turned Germany into a dictatorship. How? Watch the full story in the description.
Berlin, March 31st, 1933. In just 60 days, Germany's fragile democracy has collapsed. I'm Spartacus Olsen, reporting democracy is dead, replaced by fear and propaganda. How did a nation with elections, laws, and a constitution surrender so quickly? Tonight we follow the shocking rise of Hitler and the fall of the Weimar Republic. As Hitler ascends to power, he manipulates the fears of the populace, promising stability while tightening his grip on every aspect of life. The Weimar Republic crumbles under the weight of political intrigue and social unrest, leaving citizens grappling with the stark reality of an impending tyranny. In cafes and on street corners, discussions turn to hushed whispers as the reality of a new regime sinks in. The military parades and rallies serve as both a spectacle and a warning to those who dare dissent, solidifying Hitler's iron grip on the nation. As dissent is silenced, the regime resorts to censorship and propaganda. The visceral act of book burning symbolizes the erasure of ideas, while families are left to navigate the growing anxiety of living under an oppressive rule. Public spaces, once vibrant with democratic discourse, now stand empty, replaced by an eerie silence where opposition was once voiced. Meanwhile, the rallies amplify a dangerous sense of unity and zeal as the nation is swept up in a fervor that drowns out dissent. After the Wall Street crash in 1929, Germany suffered devastating economic hardship. Millions were unemployed. Government after government failed to maintain stability, and elections produced no clear majority. Conservative elites, desperate for control, saw Hitler as a useful puppet, a figurehead they could manipulate to restore order. Little did they know he had other plans. As Hitler began to rise through the ranks, he captivated many with grand promises of revitalization and national pride. The conservative elites underestimated him, believing they could easily control his ambition. Behind closed doors, tension simmered as Hitler's vision for Germany grew more radical, setting the stage for a transformation that would change history forever. The atmosphere in Germany shifted dramatically as Hitler's rallies drew thousands, igniting a fervor that swept across the nation. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, military leaders began to plot, sensing the rising tide of power and wondering if they had underestimated the man they once thought they could control. In the Reichstag, heated debates erupted as the once comfortable political atmosphere turned chaotic with Hitler's growing influence. Outside, Hitler stood before a large map of Europe, envisioning a bold future for Germany that would soon lead to global conflict, highlighting how far his ambitions had drifted from the conservative elite's original intentions. Hitler secretly built support among industrial magnates, promising to crush leftist revolutionaries and restore Germany's power. Franz von Papen and other conservatives persuaded President Hindenburg that Hitler's appointment would be temporary. But Hitler was already maneuvering beyond their control. With each passing day, the distance grew between Hindenburg's expectations and Hitler's ambitions as the latter's plans unfolded without restraint. As Hitler rallied the masses with fervor, the industrialists realized they had underestimated his determination to seize complete control. The once confident conservatives began to feel the weight of their miscalculation as Hitler's influence spread like wildfire through the political landscape of Germany. The atmosphere turned electric in the halls of power as battles between ideologies intensified and Hitler's ambitions began to overshadow all others. As Hitler's rhetoric stirred the hearts of many, the conservatives found themselves at a crossroads, grappling with the reality that they may have unleashed something far beyond their control. The alliances formed in the shadows began to blossom into a formidable force, leaving Hindenburg and his allies questioning whether they could contain the storm they had helped to create. On January 30th, 1933, Adolf Hitler became Reich Chancellor. Publicly, he appeared humble, presenting himself as a servant to the president and the people. Behind the scenes, Hermann Göring was placing the SS under government authority, blending party violence with state power. The illusion of democracy continued while Nazi control silently expanded. As the sun set over Berlin, anticipation filled the air among the citizens. They believed a new dawn was upon them, unaware of the darkness that would follow. With each passing day, Nazi influence grew stronger, masked by the facade of order and unity. The headlines buzzed with fervor as people poured into the streets, drawn by the promise of change. Yet in the shadows, sinister plans were being crafted, laying the groundwork for a regime that would soon silence dissent and reshape the nation. In the shadows, the SS operated with ruthless precision, targeting anyone who opposed the new regime. Meanwhile, the streets echoed with the voices of brave protesters, their cries for freedom overshadowed by the looming threat of oppression. As night fell, the streets came alive with ominous torchlit marches, a display of loyalty that masked the rising tide of fear. For many, the decree silencing opposition was not just a political maneuver, but a harbinger of darker days to come. On February 27, 1933, the Reichstag building burned, and a Dutch communist was blamed, leading to fear sweeping across the nation. The very next day, February 28th, President Hindenburg signed the emergency decree suspending civil liberties, which resulted in thousands being arrested, the press being silenced, and opposition being intimidated. The Nazis had now acquired legal tools to act with impunity. As fear tightened its grip, uniformed Nazi officers marched through the streets, their presence a constant reminder of the new order. In darkened rooms, political prisoners languished in despair, their fates sealed by the oppressive regime that had taken control. Amidst the turmoil, propaganda posters glorifying Adolf Hitler proliferated, showcasing his confident demeanor as he captivated adoring crowds. Meanwhile, in hidden locations, dissenting politicians held secret meetings, their faces etched with concern as they strategized to resist the encroaching power of the Nazis. At night, Nazi supporters gathered for rallies, torches lighting up their fervent faces as they raised their arms in unison, embodying both dread and enthusiasm. In stark contrast, an empty courtroom stood silent with vacant chairs and an ominous gavel resting, symbolizing the demise of justice in a society turned upside down. Thousands of leftist politicians and activists were detained, tortured, and sometimes killed. On March 5th, elections failed to give Hitler a majority. But using fear and political theatrics, the Nazis ensured support from conservatives. Opposition voices were neutralized, democracy was crumbling. The air was thick with tension as the citizens began to realize the grim reality. Their voices silenced, their futures uncertain. Secret meetings took place in dark corners where whispers of resistance flickered like a fragile flame against the growing darkness. With each passing day, hope seemed to dim as friends became informants and trust was a luxury few could afford. The struggle for freedom intensified as brave souls emerged to challenge the iron grip of tyranny. In the heart of despair, a new generation rose to reclaim their rights, igniting a spark of rebellion that threatened to illuminate the shadows. Yet the looming presence of military might cast a pall over their efforts, leaving them to wonder if change was truly possible. United by a common cause, they forged alliances across boundaries, sharing their dreams of a brighter future amid swirling uncertainty. As shadows lengthened, a lone figure stood as a beacon, embodying the hope that still flickered against tyranny's overwhelming grip. On March 23, 1933, many opposition deputies were in detention while the remaining conservatives and Nazi deputies pushed through the Enabling Act, granting Adolf Hitler absolute legislative power for the next 4 years. This act marked the legal destruction of parliamentary democracy, paving the way for the establishment of concentration camps to house those who resisted. As Hitler stood before the assembly, the tension in the room was palpable, with fervent supporters cheering him on while the opposition remained silenced. The passage of the Enabling Act led to a dark chapter in history where countless individuals found themselves imprisoned in concentration camps for merely voicing their dissent. As Nazi soldiers marched in formation, their presence underscored the rise of militarization and authoritarian control in Germany. Meanwhile, the gates of concentration camps loomed ominously over countless individuals bearing the chilling inscription, "Work sets you free," a cruel irony for those suffering inside. With the German flag waving prominently over Berlin, the Enabling Act signified not just a shift in power, but a complete transformation of the nation's governance. In stark contrast, the plight of political prisoners in concentration camps revealed the oppressive reality faced by those who dared to challenge the authority of the regime. Joseph Goebbels became Minister of Propaganda, overseeing the centralization of newspapers, radio, films, and theater under Nazi control, where editors were transformed into state officials, leading to the disappearance of a free press as only Nazi-approved information reached the public, shaping perceptions and silencing dissent. In this environment of strict control, the narrative of the state was enforced with public screenings of films designed to glorify the regime, while dissenting voices were drowned out by a cacophony of propaganda, ensuring that the ideology permeated every aspect of daily life. Propaganda infiltrated even the education system, where children were taught to embrace the ideals of the regime, ensuring that loyalty to the Führer was ingrained from an early age, solidifying a generation dedicated to the Nazi cause. Amidst this oppressive atmosphere, brave individuals gathered in secret, risking everything to discuss their resistance against the regime, fueled by a desire for freedom and a fervent hope for change, knowing that discovery could lead to dire consequences. The regime's control extended to the eradication of dissenting literature, as book burnings became a chilling symbol of censorship, while countless lives were shattered behind the walls of concentration camps, where those who dared to oppose the ideology faced unimaginable suffering. Hitler cleverly used existing public works programs, renaming them Bread and Work, to win over the people's support. Military rearmament was disguised as economic recovery, giving the public a glimpse of order returning even though the real economic strategies were scarce. Illusion, fear, and propaganda took the place of truth. As the nation grappled with turmoil, a close examination revealed that the much-touted economic revival was merely a facade. The cheerful faces of workers and propaganda images contrasted sharply with the reality of a military agenda lurking beneath the surface, obscured by the allure of stability. The streets appeared lively, with families enjoying what seemed like a return to normalcy, yet this prosperity was merely a mirage crafted by the regime. In the shadows, the true nature of control and fear was propagated through propaganda, ensuring that the narrative stayed firmly in the hands of those in power. In the public square, the leader's fervent speech captivated the crowd, igniting both hope and unease among the listeners. Meanwhile, the oppressive atmosphere was further illustrated by a dramatic book burning as dissenting voices were silenced, leaving only the distorted narratives that served the regime's interests. By March 31, 1933, Germany was transformed, flags of the Republic replaced by swastikas, the Reichstag silent, concentration camps active, democracy dead, civil liberties gone. One of history's greatest gaslighting campaigns had succeeded. A nation believed its salvation lay in a dictator and surrendered its freedom in just 60 days. The streets echoed with the chants of those who had been led to believe that strength came from submission. Families hid in their homes, fearing the shadows that had become their reality. Voices of dissent were silenced, drowned out by the relentless propaganda. In just 2 months, trust in the system evaporated, replaced by a chilling acceptance of tyranny. With each passing day, the fear grew thicker as neighbors turned against one another, loyalty twisted into betrayal. The promises of order masked the reality of oppression, leaving citizens to grapple with their lost freedoms. In the shadows of night, uneasy silence reigned, a haunting reminder of the hope that had dwindled away. Within homes, conversations became whispers as every word was weighed against the threat of being overheard. Families debated the cost of freedom versus safety, torn between the longing for democracy and the allure of a promised future. Each day unfolded like a page of history turned against them as the nation's heartbeat grew distant from its once vibrant pulse.